I'm going to talk now not as a deputy dean or someone running this initiative, but as a teacher, as a law teacher. And for me, the reason why I'm enthusiastic about using blended learning in my own teaching is, to me it just seems kind of obvious. If my goal as a teacher is to teach my students, provide them with some knowledge, help them to develop some skills, try and transform them into a decent legal professional, and they're my goals as a teacher, then if there's a bunch of tools that are right there that can help me do my job and in some ways make it easier, maybe there's a bit of hard work at the beginning to build them, but it's actually going to make my work easier in the longer term. If they're going to help my students to be more enthusiastic and engaged with my teaching, why wouldn't I use them? Why would I just ignore them and say, no, I'm just going to teach the same way I was taught and the way I've been teaching for the last 20 years? It just doesn't make sense to me. They're there, they're accessible, I can use them, it's going to make my work easier, it's going to make my work a higher quality. Of course I'm going to use them. And as I said at the beginning, embracing blended learning doesn't mean we have to embrace everything. And it's not about technology for technology's sake. It's about being aware of what's out there and picking the ones that are actually going to help me to do my job and do my job even better. So that's why I've been sort of experimenting with teaching technologies for the past few years and really getting a lot out of it. So we've talked about blended learning generally. I wouldn't mind talking about how blended learning can help law, but that might be a conversation that sort of emerges over the next few weeks. What I'd like to do in the few remaining minutes for this panel discussion is turn it over to you guys. I mean, the fact that you're here this morning means that either you are at least open-minded about the possibilities of blended learning, or Terry forced you to come because you played the PLT team.
Or you really like scones.
Or you really like scones, but you didn't know about that. But I'm sure some of you have got lingering doubts about blended learning, concerns, but there's a chance. Tell us. Are you worried?
Well, can I assist in that regard? I was actually in the first class that Libby taught as a student in my master's when she first introduced it. And I was particularly hesitant at the beginning, basically because giving me a computer is much like giving a monkey a spear and didn't know how to do it. And by the end of it, I was failed with all the technology, and I thought it worked pretty well. And in fact, gave Libby some feedback during the course, which was pretty complimentary.
Just for background for the others, there was a specific teaching technology that Libby experimented with called Collaborate. And if you haven't heard of Collaborate, it's quite an advanced tool. We'll include it in this series of workshops, but it's only for the people that really want to get right in there. It's a live online classroom. So you can run a tutorial online. You open it up, the students log in, you can see their faces, you can have audio, you can have typed input, you can break the students off into groups and put them in little chat rooms so they can work on projects and then report back, they can create presentations, all online. It's a wonderful tool when it works really well, but there's a steep learning curve for both the academic and the students. Yeah. But once you climb that learning curve, it's amazing, it's wonderful.
And the great thing is that they've just, last weekend, it was operating out of the States, they've now shifted it to Australia, and the difference in the quality was just incredible on Wednesday night when I ran my class. 2 students in particular who'd been dropping out every week and were getting very frustrated. Perfect, clear. It was just, the difference is unbelievable, and they've now introduced an audio telephone link so students can actually phone in. So they have, I think now's the time to embrace it if you really want to use something innovative, because it's actually in a better state. There are limitations, but we'll talk about those later.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to talk about Collaborate in workshop 3 or 4. So
if you'd like, this is a bit of a plug. If you'd like to experience what Collaborate feels like from the student's point of view. Our office is running 5 master classes. We ran the first one on planning blended learning. And we're offering those workshops every 2 weeks. So next week we'll have another one. We're offering them face-to-face, sit down in the various, I think our next one is in the Global Links Room. We're also offering them online through Blackboard Collaborate. So if you just sort of wanted a bit of a tease, a taster, I have a list of the schedule of the remaining 4 master classes. If you just want to see what Blackboard Collaborate is like, it'll take an hour of your time. I'll send you the link and you can see if you think it would work for you.
Okay. So yeah, we will include a little bit on Collaborate in this series of workshops as well. So Ron's series of workshops is open to everyone. This is the special workshop series, which is just for us. Okay. Any other lingering concerns or doubts that you want to voice now?
So I'm here because I'm very open-minded about it, and anything which improves the product is it goes without saying. Do you find there's any kind of issue between different cultures of students? Some students particularly like the classroom environment. It's what they've always had, it's what they've always known. It's they're very comfortable with it. Kind of uncomfortable with, or more uncomfortable than others with being asked to talk and be interactive. So do you find there's an issue there?
Yes. Obviously, there are students from different cultures who are used to being taught and talked at in that very didactic fashion. So that is a challenge, and for me it also creates a challenge in terms of audio, and their not having English as a first language, and their actual accents create some challenges. So yeah, that is there, but I think like everything, you have those challenges in the face-to-face environment, and you just have to learn different ways to manage it. So sometimes I might get those students to use the chat medium rather than audio, and just really encourage them to participate. But I think the thing about this is we're talking blended learning. So I guess as an encouragement to you, what I would say is we still can have those sessions that are face-to-face where they can have that opportunity to perhaps be more themselves. But I've also found that in Collaborate, having that remote distance makes them a bit more adventurous.
Sometimes those that are a little shy or they're reticent to speak up suddenly get a voice that perhaps doesn't emerge in a large group, a higher stakes environment. Right. So there's pros and cons as well. And
I think those pros and cons exist in whatever environment you're working in. They're really no different. There might be some more technical aspects to it in terms of audio, but again, there are ways around that.
Also, and this isn't necessarily related to any particular culture, we have shy students. I spent time teaching in Hong Kong and also Japan, and the role or the perceived role of the student is different in some of those countries for some of the students. And again, I'm generalizing, and that can be dangerous. But if you have a shy student, one who thinks, okay, there's the teacher up here, I'm down here, I'll just listen, absorb, and learn from the master. They're far less likely to put their hand up and ask a question or engage in a lively debate, whether it be in a tutorial or a lecture. If you turn that on online and you put up a discussion forum where the thread's there, they are more likely, the shy, the student who perhaps sees the role of the teacher as passive in class, they're more likely to thrive in an online discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. The only point I'll add to that is, I think blended learning is going to push some students outside their comfort zone, and that's okay. It's all right. That'll, like Libby said, that happens however we teach. If it's just a tube, there's some students that are going to be really pushed outside their comfort zone, and that's actually good for them. And as we saw with Mick was pushed outside his comfort zone by what Libby was doing, but by the end, he was happy.
And we're still friends.
And still friends.
Well, yeah, you do.
Okay, I might draw the panel discussion.